Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today we're going to try and help David out. David sent me a couple of reels. Two of them have bail issue problems. So we're going to go see what we can do to help him get a jump on this one. So he sent me in what hopefully is all of the pieces and parts for the bail assembly. And he's asked me if I could put it back together again for him. I think what he did was he started to service the reel, took the bail off, and well, here we are with a bail that needs a little bit more service now. Okay, I like to work on bails by taking the rotor off, and in order to do that you need to remove the spool and some exterior pieces to that. This is a basic Shakespeare reel. I'm not sure if it even has a brand on it other than Shakespeare model number, but this will be a fairly typical type of a bail for one of two setups that bails have. So let's see what we can do with this one. I've removed the spool. As I remove the spool and the rest of it, the spool shims and the click ratchet, you do that by just pulling up. I want to say thank you to our first responders and essential personnel, and I want to invite everybody to subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. That way you can see all the videos that I do, and you can choose which ones you'd like to watch when you hit that notification button. So subscriptions will help you and they help me, and I appreciate all of the folks that have subscribed so far. All right, we have one nut that's holding the rotor down. I believe it's a 12 millimeter, and we're just going to remove that using a deep socket. So once we remove that, we can take the rotor and just simply pull that off. Here's the underside of it. I'm not going to do the whole reel today. This is about how to set the bail. This is your instant anti-reverse. It's run on by an eccentric spring. You can see that right here tied to the top of that. It wraps around a collar underneath here. As you're reeling, it's going to let it go, and then as you go to reverse, it's going to pull it back in. Well, we got the override on. It's going to pull it back in to set this anti-reverse. This anti-reverse is using a cog system that'll always reset it back once. So it's always going to set it back to a single place. So that's not an instant anti-reverse by any means. And usually you see that set up on those fast cast models where you need the trigger back at the handle. So we're just going to put that aside for a moment. We've got the rotor off. Let's go take a look at the pieces and the parts and see what we can determine here. I would suggest to you to go out to a site, try to get a schematic for the reel if you're not familiar with that. This does have the fast cast. That's why it's where it is. That makes sense. Okay, so I've laid out the bail parts as best as I know them. There was a couple of pieces to the bail wire itself. That's a roller. It's got a little plastic grommet as the burring, and it just sits over there, so I put that off to the side. Also located the screw for that and the washer that's going to nest inside the bail arm. This is one of the reasons why I like to detach the bail arms when I'm trying to rebuild a bail, because you don't have to wrestle with all of that stuff while you do that. Next, I got the side plate cover and I found the associated screw. Then I found the easy cast button. There's a little washer or bushing that goes in there and the screw. And then what really sets the bail, the spring and the trip arm. So let's get started with that then. The first piece in is the trip arm. It's that piece that kind of looks like the letter S here. I guess if you turn it upside down it'll look like the letter Z. There's a short arm and a long arm. The long arm goes at the bottom of the case and it rides inside this ridge. So it kind of goes in just like that. Okay, and what happens here is when you go to open your bail, it's going to push this lever down like that. It's going to push it out into the path of the ramp. There's a trip ramp on here, right here. And as that slides up the ramp, it's going to push this back up, forcing the return spring to push the bail arm back into position. Well, that return spring isn't here at the moment, so let's show you how to do that. There's a long and a short arm on the return spring. There's two holes where the spring is going to fit. The short arm spring is going to fit right in that hole like that. The other hole is going to be located on the back of the bail arm. So I'm going to just go ahead and put that in. And if this is problematic to see, I apologize. So let's tell you what else is going to happen here. You'll see a slot in this bail arm right here. That is where that metal tag arm of that S bar is going to land. And you'll see a hard stud on the outside. And that hard stud is going to travel inside this case. So what's going to happen with the spring setup here is you're going to need to put the spring in, align the arm, and push down so that all of those pieces are in the right place. So let's see if we can do this on camera. It's a little wiggly here for me. And hard to try and play it for the camera. Alright, that's in. Now I'm going to rotate the bail arm over and push down on the assembly so that you can clear that stud just like that. And if you hold that, you can test it right now. Is that spring moving? And that spring is moving, you can see. So go ahead before you do anything else and tie down that bail arm. Use the right screw. I noticed when I was counting pieces and parts, one of the screws in the other side of the bail was wrong. Okay, with that on now, you'll see that this is going to operate by tripping it this way. That's compressing the spring, and that's pushing the button, or that big bar underneath. It's pushing it so that when it contacts the trip ramp, it's going to snap it back. You can see how it's going to work now. Now that side plate case is going to keep that bar from shooting out, so let's do that right now. Put that little cover back on. So again, I'd like to encourage you to subscribe to my channel if you like these types of videos, and if you have a question about any of these reels, please ask the question in the comment section. I'll try to get you an answer. Alright, well, we have this next piece here. This is the Easy Cast flipper button. To set that, you're going to want to bring your bail back. Inside this, there's a little metal bushing, there's a screw, and there's a little bit of an offset here. You might be able to see it, you might not. But what you do with this in the down position is you go ahead and align the pieces up to that hole in the side case. Tighten that down. And when you tighten it down, it should still have that flop to it, right? Okay, now we're up. We're tightened on this. We have our bail, and if we pull down on that Easy Cast, it should trip the bail down. So that's working the way it should. And again, this will all reset when the bail pops. It'll bring that Easy Cast back into position. All right, how do we get the bail wire on then? Well, this bail wire has a little crimped section to it. Remember, over here on this side, we have a bushing and we have the roller. So hold that as you do the rest of this. You set this by taking the crimped end and getting it into the piece, basically at 95 degrees from where it's supposed to be. And then you bring it around and align your assembly with the back end of the bail arm. And we have a screw that's going to go in. And we have a washer for that screw too. It's going to sit on the other side. Just like that. And now we can line these up. We'll tighten in the screw here to hold the bail down. Put it back on the reel. We'll see if we were any good at this. So right now, at least I know that I have the bail spring is working here. The Easy Cast function is working with the bail attached. You'll see how it picks that bail up for a ready cast. And when that lever trips underneath, it should push it back. So let's let's do that final piece then. We'll take the rotor and reinstall that. Again, we're going to take that rotor nut, that's the 12 millimeter. Take the 12 millimeter deep socket to finish the tightening on that. There was a little tie down screw, so let's make sure we put that back together. So if you have a reel like David that needs to be repaired, don't be afraid if you've taken a reel apart and haven't put it back together again. I actually congratulate folks that at least try it. That's what this channel is about. It's do-it-yourself education, but maybe you've tried something, you can't get it back together again, or maybe you just got frustrated or something. If you need my help, if you want a reel repaired or serviced, contact me on the business card by email, and I'll be happy to give you that repair information. Okay, the click ratchet went back on. The shim washer for the line went back on. Here's the button. The drag adjuster knob. We'll give the reel a twirl. Now let's see if we can, okay, so first thing up, when I reinstalled that, the fast cast is 180 degrees away. That can't be, so what you want to do, had 50% chance of being right and a 50% chance of being wrong. I was wrong. I should have set that up ahead of time. So we're just going to remove these again. Take our tie-down nut out. This is good practice. If you need practice on how to take a rotor off, this is good practice. Okay, this has to be moved 180 degrees. So just take your rotor off. Hold the assembly, spin it around so that the fast trip is facing you. Go ahead and put that back on. I'm always a little bit confused. Some of them are called fast cast, some of them are called easy cast. They all kind of have their own name for these little trip lever buttons here. Go ahead and tighten this back up. Click ratchet. Spool ratchet, spool shim, and put the tie down in. We can go do that now. And we'll have this reel properly oriented. So don't panic if you find yourself with the fast cast on the other side. Just take the rotor off again, rotate it 180 degrees. There's only two ways that rotor can go on. I obviously picked the wrong one, and you'll be fine. Okay, now we can give it a final test. So we're spinning nicely. It reverts to where it should. Go ahead and use your forefinger. We've got a functioning bail. So that was the whole idea behind this one. Show you how to reset that. So what did we do? We removed the rotor. It's easier to work on it that way. We showed you how the Z-bar works, the trip bar. We showed you how to set that long spring. You put it into the hole there, you put it into a hole below, and you compress down. Then you can cover up your case once you've got that seated. Put the bail arm into an on position so that we could install the easy cast. The easy cast went in by screwing down the back end of the easy cast into the side of the rotor assembly. And then we reinstalled the bail, because that's the easiest way to do it without the bail wire or the bail attached to the reel at any point. We reattached that, and David's ready to go fishing again with his Shakespeare reel. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Please, everybody, stay safe, stay well, and stay watching. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.